Hey guys, so I realized I need to do a catch-up video for the Getting to Know Me video. I apologize that I'm such a failure lately at this, but today I posted my other video on time, which was a huge success for me, which is pathetic, but anyway, um, so basically, I'm just going to tell you about myself. I hate talking about myself. I hate being the center of attention. It's really awkward for me to record videos. Um, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much it. For that, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. That will always be home to me. I currently live in Indiana, in a small town just outside of Indianapolis. I don't really care for Indiana because I'm obsessed with Missouri. And I've had a lot of um, not very good things happen to me since I've lived in Indiana, which I think um, has added to what was like literally the trauma of moving here. I know maybe that sounds like really dramatic, but it's the whole situation under, which brought the situation that makes it hard. Not to mention that it was quite a swift move. So it was very difficult for me to deal with. I was very depressed for years, and even to the point where I was self harming, and things of that nature. Um, yeah, not my proudest moment. However, life has progressed because it has to since then. So I don't really have those issues so much anymore. I still don't really care for Indiana as a whole, and I think a lot of this has gotten, like, no offense to anyone out there, but per my experience, I've not met a lot of great people here, which is why I have such a hard time because, back home it's like all the people I grew up with and that know me and that I've been around my whole life, and so that's difficult, but I'll always have, I think, a different outlook on the two places. Just because I don't think anywhere can ever like compare to what is home to you, no matter where I go. Although I have been some places in the South that I would consider moving to if the opportunity arose, and I don't know, but anyway, I don't see me spending the rest of my life in Indiana because if you couldn't tell, I don't really care for it. Also, it's boring. There's nothing to do here. Um, but other than that, I did meet one of my best friends here. I've had one of the same best friends since the very first day of kindergarten, and she still lives back home and everything. But I met also another one of my best friends when we originally met in eighth grade. But it was kind of funny because apparently we were both like quasi obsessed with like becoming friends with each other for some reason, which sounds really creepy and like I don't know, it makes us really weird. But we were both like that, and we had a lot of mutual friends and like friends of friends and things like that that we hung around at the time. But it was always one of those things where one of us would get somewhere, and like I'd be like, hey, so is Kiana here? And everybody would be like, oh, she just left. Like, you just missed her. And I'd be like, fuck, like because for whatever reason I was just like, yeah, if we could just hang out, like I know we'll be best friends, like I know we'll be best friends. There was just something about her, and she would always like ask around, like, hey, like what's Jessie doing, like maybe we should hang out with them, and it would always be this like just missed situation. So then about 2 years after that, I think it was two two and a half, something like that. Anyway, we finally, the chance like finally arose where we were in a situation where we could hang out, right? So basically what happened was this mutual friend of ours at the time, he calls me and it's New Year's, right? And he's like, hey, Jesse, it's Mike, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I was just trying to play it off because I wasn't like no offense, but I wasn't really sure like what I was gonna do or whatever. If I wanted him to come over, who I was gonna invite. So my family, my brother, my sister, who are both older than me, they were gonna invite some people. I was gonna invite some people. We were gonna have this really great New Year's party. So I was like, oh, I'm not sure what I'm doing tonight. Why? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, just looking for something to do. And, he was like, I'm hanging out with Bree and Kiana and uh, his cousin or something. I don't even remember. And I was like, you're hanging out with who? I was like, did you say you're hanging out with Kiana? So he was like, yeah, I'm hanging out with Kiana. And I was like, oh shit. So I was like, this is it. This is it. This is my big moment. So anyway, so I was like, yeah, well, you guys should come over. I think we're gonna have a party. So he was like, okay, cool, we'll be there. Well, they end up showing up, and then like that night, me and Kiana were both like, we're gonna be best friends forever, like literally. And and that's essentially what's happened. We've been best friends ever since then. It's weird because I feel like um, she's like my soulmate, as far as, um, like friends are concerned and everything. Like literally, if we were lesbians or like if one of us was a guy or whatever, like we would be together for life. But it doesn't work out like that because we're both straight females, so we're not really interested like that. But I have those same type of feelings towards her that you would like somebody that that you want to spend the rest of your life with, but it's just in a friend way for us, which is cool. But we always talk about like we've like always talked about like moving away together and like kind of like running away from like all the crap that we hate, because it's like literally she is the only person that I feel like, um, friend wise, that like fully I can like say or do or be whatever, and like she'll never judge me for it. She'll always have my back. She doesn't have to agree with what I do, but she's always supportive, and that's something, that I definitely don't thank her enough for, because she has been a huge rock in my life. When I had my back surgery a year and a half ago, she was the only person that came and sat with me when I couldn't leave the house. Um, so, I mean, she's been a pivotal part of my life, especially since I've been in Indiana. My life's not been the same. My dog's barking. Anyway, oh, I have a dog named Sophie. She's a rat terrier. I love her to death. She's adorable. And I also have a dog named Charlie. She's 3/4 Yorkie, 1/4 Chihuahua. I have a ginormous goldfish that's like, yeah, about that big. His name's Poncho. He's white, kind of a white underbelly and a little bit on his face. And then, of course, like the orangey gold color, um, throughout like his back and everything. But he has this orange little mustache. And I Googled mustache styles because my sister got a fish just like him. Hers died, but anyway, so Pancho, his mustache is Pancho Villa, is the style of mustache he has, so that's why I named him Pancho. I have a bunch of guppies, which have a ton of babies, so they're separated. I think I only have like maybe 9 of those right now, but I've had as many as like 40 or more. Crazy. I kind of had like a mild fish farm thing happening for a little while. But anyway, um, yeah, I don't really know what else. I don't like the feeling of free falling. I like cars. I'm really into old cars, like classic, American cars specifically. I like racing, any type of racing, because I really love to go fast, just not when I'm falling from the sky and my stomach flips, because I hate that feeling. I used to be afraid of roller coasters, but I became, interested in them at about the age of 18. but that's not panned out very well because now I've got degenerative disc disease, and that is pretty much over. I don't know if I'll ever get back on one again, just because I feel like the risk is too high for, you know, hurting my back again. I'm very young to have had the surgery that I had, and if the area that I had surgery on has further problems, I think a fusion would be like the only possible option at this point. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of afraid to find out. And the area right above it is not as severe, but it is not great, and definitely not good for being only 23, not quite 24 yet. So that's not good. I try to do what I can to preserve and things like that, because I do want to have kids and I want to be able to be there for them and not be, handicapped or whatever, the rest of my life. So that's been a hurdle. I've also had Bartholin's cyst. Yeah, Google that because that's not fun. If you ever have to have stitches in your crotch, ow! I don't really know what else to say about that. It hurts. Yeah, it's not fun. Stitches in the crotch, no bueno. Um, but whatever. I've been kind of a medical anomaly since I got out of high school. Right about the time I turned 18 was when I started having the problems with the Bartholin cyst. I ended up having to have a surgery for it about a year and a half later or so. And I've kind of been a patient ever since. Had to get my wisdom teeth surgically removed, all four of them at the same time. They had to be like all extra crazy and like whatever it is, if it's something weird, I've got it. If it's something that only happens to 80-year-olds, I've got it. If it's something that is, only happens in 4% of the population and it only has a 2% chance of ever reoccurring if you are that 4%, that's me. Like, whatever it is, it has to be like that to the nth degree and like crazy. And I think it's sometimes like people think I'm just full of shit. About my medical problems, but like literally my brother and my sister, they're fine. Like my sister used to sprain her ankle all the time when we were kids, and like she's like chipped one and whatever, and like that was her thing. My brother's fine, but he's like a hypochondriac. And I just have all the weird medical problems, and like even I just switched doctors recently, and she was like asking me about my medical history, and I was like, okay, bear with me, like it's gonna be a minute because I've tell you about all this crazy stuff that's happened to me. Well, I was telling her everything, and she like at first she was kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever, you're 23, whatever. And then I explained everything to her, and she was like, oh my god. She was like, yeah, you really have had a lot of weird stuff. I also have a severe allergy to bees and bee stings and some other type of flying insect. I don't know what. But literally it's like life threatening. But I just got an EpiPen like 2.5 weeks ago because my doctor I had previously apparently sucks. But anyway, I don't know. I guess that's really it. I don't really know what else to say about myself. So if you all have any questions or anything, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them for you. I'll leave the links to everything, of course, down below, or you can leave comments in the comments section here beneath this video. And I'll see y'all again next week.